Hello, Scorpio. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. All right, Scorpio, beautiful message here. So, blessed is talking about unexpected blessings coming through. Cauldron is saying, don't put any limits on how these blessings come through to you. But the reason why some of you may be doing that is because of Queen of My World. And I just want to share the quote with this. It says, I set limits to my world. Inside, I am queen, and outside is lost. Because of that, I think that some of you may not recognize something as a blessing when it does come through. But there's also this needing to protect your inner world. So, situations that have made you feel like your inner world was corrupted because of them, I think is why you're in that place with Queen of My World, where you're done. I'm done dealing with certain people and situations. I'm not going to let them affect what is going on within me. But when you're talking about placing limits on how blessings come in, that may be the reason why. So you might want to take a look at, the limits that you're putting in place. But also, there's very much this feeling of, I don't know that you're going to recognize it as a blessing when it does happen. But either way, it's a good thing coming through. And for some of you, it could just be that you protecting your inner world is the blessing, even though it may have come out of dealing with difficult people or situations. You're overall the Queen of Pentacles, beautiful. So being in a place where you feel self-reliant, being resourceful, being practical and realistic about the growth that you are creating in your life. But beautiful position to be in, especially when it comes to money, wealth, material things, and not needing to depend on anything but yourself to create that. In the past, the Six of Swords, so, again, moving away from difficult situations, but moving into a place where emotionally you're calmer. So, when I look at the Six of Swords, immediately I think about the Five of Swords coming before this. So there's always this kind of feeling with the Six of Swords of, I didn't want to have to do this, but I need to because I don't want to be a part of these situations anymore, because you need that emotional calm. But making a choice to move away from difficult things. In the present, the Chariot, moving. Definitely. And victory on a major scale here. But also willpower. The willpower to do this. And to stay in control of where situations are heading in your life, but literally moving, traveling for some of you, especially with these two, but it came out of difficulty. Future conditions, strength. So for those of you who have left difficult situations, you know that the purpose of this is to move into calmer situations where you are in more control over what is happening. And strength is saying that you might have to pull on your inner strength to continue to create this abundance in your life. It's not the Empress, but I feel like what's more important to you, or what you're focusing on right now, is not needing to have to rely on other people. And that could be for some of you. But definitely moving away from difficult situations, but having to pull on your inner strength. But coming out as the Queen of Pentacles is a perfect position to be in. It's one thing to move out of difficult situations and not knowing what you're going to do next. But for you, clearly here, you know exactly what you need to do. And stability, having stability while this is going on. Your best path to follow, the Tower. Yeah, let it all come down, right? Drastic changes. But this may be, not necessarily that you need to create a tower moment, but understanding that things may come crashing down for the people that you may be moving away from. Like, I feel like there needs to be this recognition of, I can't build on situations like this again with people who are creating difficult situations for you. And I say this because of Queen of My World and you going inward. But this isn't like the Hermit, though. It's very much about protecting what is going on within you. But for some of you, yeah, the advice here would be to make the drastic changes, especially in the areas of your life where you feel like things have been built up falsely. But also look at how we're rebuilding in a better way, a more stable, realistic, and secure way. In your environment, the King of Wands. Now, if we're talking about a person that you're dealing with here, with the King of Wands, this is somebody who has gained a lot of experiences through his adventures. And this is knowing when to follow a passion and when not to. Now, for some of you, you may be moving into a new relationship. This could be somebody coming to see you, you them. But the King of Wands, and I love how he's smiling, and it's always the fire signs, ain't it? But this is, wisdom when it comes to following passion. And this also kind of gives me the feeling that, you're no stranger to dealing with these kinds of situations. Like, you've had to go through this before, and it may have created difficult situations with people where you've had to go, yeah, I've had enough. It's time for me to move. I need a new environment. But it could be because of, somebody in your environment, somebody attractive, somebody that gets your attention, which is funny because with Queen of My World, one of the first things that came to my mind when I seen this was, if you don't have my attention, you don't exist, right? But this may be somebody who is catching your attention and wanting you to, make a big move here. And this may be somebody who is facilitating this, right? But you're good. And that's the thing, with the Queen of Pentacles being the overall, you're not dependent on a relationship. But this could be somebody who supports your passions and allows you to follow that to where there's this abundance and stability, right? Like having a connection, but it going in a very good direction for you, where you get to do the things that you want to do. That's what I feel like is going on here, especially for those of you who may be meeting somebody new. But, then I look back at strength and I also think, don't rebuild on something that is false to you just because it looks attractive. Again, it's wisdom with knowing what to follow and what not to. But I think you're fine either way. Your hopes and your fears, the Three of Pentacles, how is this going to work out? That's what I want to say, seeing that immediately. Are you making plans with me? Or am I going to have to do this on my own? So you may be fearing that this could be a situation that doesn't work out, especially if we're talking about like long distance relationships. This could be somebody saying, hey, if you're getting out of this difficult situation, why don't you come this way? But I would caution that just because of the Tower being your advice. and you needing to hold on to your strength when it comes to being able to provide for yourself. I think that that's what's more important. But this person may be the hidden blessing, though, too. I'm just saying. But here it is. How is this going to work? And then coming out, the Seven of Cups. And this may be why we're looking at strength, too. And again, you don't want to get involved in a situation where you're just building up to the same places that you've already been. But the Seven of Cups coming out, it's like, yeah, you know, it could be, but I don't know if I really want to do that. Or, you know, you could end up in a situation where you make a choice that isn't going to feel the best later on. And that's only going to be for some of you. And I say that because, you know, strength. The Queen of Swords. Ooh, boy. And very much with Queen of my World. The Four of Wands. And then the Knight of Pentacles. Look, you know, if you're going to move this forward, you're going to do it at your own pace. And there is no need to rush into anything right now. Because as far as you're concerned, your plans are in place. You know what you're doing. This is just something that's coming through that may be causing this drastic change. But again, how is this going to work? The Queen of Swords, whatever situation you've moved away from in the past has left you in a place where you've had to shut off your emotions. She is the truth teller with the venom tongue. And she doesn't give a shit about anybody's reputation. But this is, I don't want to play games anymore. And coming from a place of absolute clarity and truth. And it may be, you know, that you're speaking up like, I don't want to have to deal with future faking. And I don't want my emotions to be confused, because this harshness is creating a new foundation for you out of, you know, tower moments where you get to actually celebrate the stability that's being created. And you're doing this. And the Knight of Pentacles, I have my plans in place. And if you're willing to work with me, then we will see where things go. And I like this, especially if you're not really sure on if this is something that you want to do or not. And again, I go back to, you know, the Tower as your advice. But of course, of course your advice would be the Tower. Libra got the same thing, throat chakra. And what I wanted to say to them was start speaking positive affirmations about themselves. Expansion. So not being afraid to, you know, speak up. Wanting to experience expansion, especially if you know that by being involved, it could create the same situations you've already experienced. And your willpower, the Chariot, your solar plexus. Your will to do something has to be there. But you are only going to start pulling on your willpower when it comes to expansion in your own life. And this is something that, you know, you're not afraid to speak on. So I feel like things are clear here. But the willpower. Make sure that you are directing yourself down the right path for you, especially emotionally. But I'm looking at you going, you know, I really want to see what else is available to me with this. Speaking that and then acting on it. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Perfect. Perfect. I'm telling you, I keep seeing this one. A time to give rather than take. And again, for me looking at this, it's taking from your outer world instead of realizing that whatever you need, you can give to yourself. And that may be, where your focus needs to be for things to expand for you if you're coming out of tough cycles. It's almost like if you're coming out of a tough cycle and this is a pattern that you've seen before in your life, you know where that road goes. You know how that's going to end up. And I don't think that you're ignoring that, but be careful about being tempted into situations that might pull you back into having to move away from it because of difficulties that show up later on that you were already aware of, if that makes sense. But again, giving to yourself and understanding that you don't have to look towards your outer world to bring inner peace, bring happiness, bring joy. You can give that to yourself right now, right? But I think the important thing here is to make sure that the strength that you're grabbing onto has to do with the stability and the self-reliance that you are creating for you.